Hello YouTube, Freddie Cardona here. Welcome back to another episode of Driving in the News. Today is November 29th, 2022, as we record history for posterity. And let's get right into it.
Happy 4th of July!
Same T-Mobile rate.
Yes, it is. Happy Labor Day.
Still the same.
Yes! It's still the same rates.
This holiday, make the switch from Verizon and AT&T to T-Mobile. With T-Mobile's Price Lock Guarantee, we won't raise the rate of your talk, text, and data, ever. And you'll avoid those random rate hikes. Get even more at T-Mobile. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Price Lock guarantees rate plan price of current on-network service for eligible lines on new accounts. See details at T-Mobile.com.
WINS, WINS-FM in HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
34 degrees now in Hackensack, 38 on Staten Island. 10-10 winds AccuWeather 20s in some of the suburbs this morning. Later today, partly sunny and 46. It is 36 in Central Park. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Sharon Barnes-Waters is our service aide. Eileen LaPalmer is the writer. Justin Schrager, the editor. I'm Susan Richard.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning, 36 degrees at 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday, November 29th. I'm Lee Harris. Here's what's happening. A car explodes on the Cross Bronx Expressway after getting crushed between two tractor trailers. One person's dead, two hurt. We'll go to the scene. Mayor Adams says the recent surge of cops into the subway system has been bringing down crime by about 13% so far this month, but some riders say they're not feeling it. President Biden calls on Congress to stop the freight rail strike, set to begin in less than a week. The U.S. needs to beat Iran today to advance in the World Cup, but for members of the Iranian team, the stakes are much, much higher. The world's largest volcano is erupting for the first time in 38 years. That's Hawaii's Mauna Loa. No evacuations yet. Sports, the Devils beat the Rangers. The Nets won. 10-10 Winds AccuWeather. Sunny today, but chilly. We'll have a high of 46. It's news time, 8:01. Karen Stewart's here with traffic and transit.
I am, and it ain't pretty over on the Staten Island Expressway. From center span of the Staten Island Bound Goethals Bridge to the Verrazano, we've got very heavy, moderately heavy to extremely heavy and jam on the Staten Island Expressway for its entirety. We still have this accident right now over on the Belt Parkway. It's the Belt Parkway going eastbound of Pennsylvania. Accident there, at least one lane blocked, and we are jammed right now back to Bergen Beach in the Oldville Basin Drawbridge, but the overall eastbound delays go back just a little bit further than that. We've got westbound Bell Parkway delays that are very heavy from Guy Brewer Boulevard to Cross Bay Boulevard, and along the way on the eastbound belt, it looks like right before Guy Brewer, we may have an accident there, brand new, westbound side of the LIE. That's a bumper-to-bumper ride out into Queens Boulevard from back now at the Douglaston Parkway. At Queens Boulevard on the westbound LIE outer, we have a disabled tractor-trailer, and we've got the right lane blocked. 45 minutes in at the George and an hour at the Lincoln and an hour at the Holland with alternate side parking rules in effect. We're sponsored by Jackpocket, letting you play official state lottery games on your phone. Use code radio for a free Mega Millions or Powerball ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. If you have a gambling problem and want help, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Please visit jackpocket.com/TOS for full terms of service. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes on the ones. Our next report is at 8:11. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
There was an explosion on the Cross Bronx Expressway this morning. It came from a car that got crushed between two tractor trailers. Darius Radzius is on the scene this morning.
There was nearly nothing left of the two trailers from both trucks after the fire was put out, only the skeleton. One person was killed in this fiery crash on the Cross Bronx. It happened at around 12:30 this morning involving two tractor trailers and a car. A woman in that car died in the crash. She reportedly rear-ended the truck in front of her and then was hit by another truck from behind. Both truck drivers were able to get out of their trucks with minor injuries and refused medical attention. Witnesses nearby described hearing explosions, and pictures posted on social media shows the trucks consumed by a huge raging fire. This crash caused major delays for several hours when the entire expressway was closed as firefighters fought the blaze. Darius Radzius, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on the University Avenue overpass above the Cross Bronx.
The city has sent extra cops into the subway before, apparently without putting much of a dent in the crime rate. But Mayor Adams says the surge of cops into the system that began shortly before Election Day has made an impact.
And we knew that there was no better way to make people feel safe with our crime fight initiative than have the omnipresence. And that's what people are seeing.
NYPD says felonies in the subway are down 13% over the past month, but this rider says she's not feeling safer.
I personally haven't seen a difference in the amount of crime. I don't believe it.
This rider, though, says at least it's something.
We can't get rid of the crime, but, it's a little step towards.
Even with the current blue surge, overall subway crime is up more than 33% so far this year. President Biden is now officially calling on Congress to head off the freight rail strike, which is set to begin Monday.
In a statement, the president says Congress should immediately impose the terms of the tentative agreement reached by union leaders and railroad bosses in September. That deal was rejected by the rank and file of 4 of the 12 unions in the industry. The workers opposed to the agreement say it does not include enough paid sick leave. The president notes in his statement that he's pro-labor and that he's reluctantly taking this step. In 1992, then Senator Joe Biden voted against congressional intervention to end a railroad strike that lasted for 2 days.
White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy. 1010 Winds AccuWeather. Chilly today, sun mixing with clouds. We'll have a high of 46. Right now it's 36, mostly cloudy. Humidity at 67. The winds are north at 8. 36, we're going up to 46, and the AccuWeather real feel is 32. The U.S. team has to beat Iran today to move on in the World Cup, but the stakes may be considerably higher for members of the opposing team. Mark Renee with more on that.
Yeah, Lee, the Iranian players and their families said to be under threat from Iran's government after the team captain's very vocal support of protesters back in his home country. Meantime, that nation wants Team USA kicked out of the tournament after social media posts over the weekend included a doctored Iranian flag.
The intent of the post was to show support for women's rights. It was meant to be a moment. We made the post at the time. All of the other representations of the flag remain consistent and will continue to.
That's national team spokesman Michael Cameron. Meantime, Coach Greg Berhalter said the team itself knew nothing about the post.
We're not focused on those outside things, and all we can do on our behalf is apologize on behalf of the players and the staff.
Adding that they're all strictly focused on today's game. Mark Renee, 1010 Wins Sports on 92.3 FM.
Gunfire on Staten Island yesterday happened around 5:30 p.m. A 53-year-old man was shot and killed in front of 180 Broad Street in Stapleton. There were 2 shooters spotted running away from the scene. No word yet on who the victim was, who shot him, or why they shot him. Former Vice President Pence joining the growing list of critics on former President Trump, calling on him to apologize for some recent dinner guests.
A growing number of Republicans, including former Vice President Mike Pence, are criticizing Donald Trump for dining with a Holocaust-denying white nationalist and the rapper formerly known as Kanye West. Pence says that the former president demonstrated profoundly poor judgment when he met last week at his Mar-a-Lago club with West, who is now known as Ye, as well as Nick Fuentes, a far-right activist with a long history of making anti-Semitic and white nationalist remarks. Trump has said he did not know who Fuentes was before the meeting, but has so far refused to denounce his views. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
With winter coming, fighting in Ukraine is expected to slow down, at least in terms of advances on the battlefield.
It becomes very difficult for Ukrainian forces to push forward, and of course for Russia to try to push back against them. And so this lightning advance that we've seen from the Ukrainians is likely to slow down, at least for the next few weeks, possibly for the next month or so. But again, the Ukrainians saying we need more weapons, we're going to keep fighting. This is not a stalemate, that this is an active conflict, and they are going to keep pushing Russia out of their territory.
Correspondent Imtiaz Tayyib, but President Zelensky is warning that Russian winter won't stop the Russian missile attacks aimed at Ukraine's water and power supplies. And U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the U.S. is asking European allies to give Ukraine what it needs to repair its infrastructure.
spare parts, equipment, transformers, the kinds of material they'll need to get some of these systems and networks back up and running and get the power turned back on.
He says the U.S. is asking the Europeans to do this because Ukraine's power grid is uniquely European. Just because Mauna Loa, the world's largest volcano, is erupting, that's no reason you shouldn't go to Hawaii right now. Well, that's Governor David Ige's take on it anyway.
If you have planned a vacation or a trip to Hawaii Island, this eruption is no reason to change your plans.
Not everyone feels the same. Southwest Airlines has canceled a number of Hawaiian flights, but overall, Mauna Loa doesn't seem to be posing too much of a threat.
Volcanologists tell me we've likely already seen the worst of the eruptions. It'll likely start to taper off from here. They also say another bit of good news is that eruptions happened in the northeast. That means it would take weeks of continuous gushing for lava to actually reach populated areas or infrastructure.
Correspondent Matt Gutman. Mauna Loa last erupted 38 years ago, and this has been its longest dormant period on record. 36 degrees, mostly cloudy. We're going up to 46 now. This Riverside Memorial Chapel for generations, a symbol of Jewish tradition and uncompromising quality. Elon Musk says Apple, which was one of the bigger advertisers on Twitter, has stopped advertising on Twitter, apparently due to concerns about content moderation now that he's in charge. Musk adds that Apple is also considering dropping Twitter from its app store, as it did with right-leaning Twitter competitors Gab and Parler. Apple has confirmed none of this, but Musk has indicated that if Apple does pull Twitter out of the App Store, he might start making his own smartphone to compete with the iPhone. Amazing Grace. A vigil last night in Chesapeake, Virginia for the 6 Walmart employees shot to death last week by one of their managers. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin was in attendance.
We must mend our wounds of grief with an unyielding determination to change the conditions of our society that have increasingly bred a culture of despair, of disillusion, and a lack of respect for human life.
The killer shot himself. He left behind a note on his phone accusing his colleagues of mocking him and saying that he was led by Satan. Murder charges have been filed now against 22-year-old Dionne Fleming, accused of stabbing her 2 children in the apartment where they lived in the Bronx. Bodies of 3-year-old Deshawn Fleming and 11-month-old Octavius Fleming, Canada, were found over the weekend. Police say when they got to the apartment, Dionne Fleming was trying to burn things in the kitchen and was acting irrationally. She's been undergoing psychiatric evaluation. This News 5, 811. Now let's check traffic and transit with Karen Stewart.
There is zero change on the Cross Bronx Expressway. We remain closed westbound near the Major Deegan Expressway with an accident investigation from the overnight. All lanes are blocked. The Cross Bronx Expressway is jammed, completely jammed, back onto the Throgs Neck Expressway and East Tremont Avenue.
All right, guys, that was today's news. If you notice, the camera is a little bit zoomed back. That's to give the viewers a little bit bigger field of view over to the left and to the right, so you get a little bit of the holder, the iPhone holder, and a little bit of the trunk, the hood. The trunk is in the back. So yeah, you get a little bit more of each thing, but I think that's okay. I think that's a good trade-off. All right, guys, remember to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the Driving in the News video. You never know what neighborhood I'm going to be in one of these videos. I might one day be in one of your neighborhoods. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next video.